Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we are going to be doing a 2021 fantasy football mock draft on Yahoo Fantasy. In this video, we're going to be talking about all of my picks from pick number 5 of this 12-team draft, as well as my feeling about the draft going on around me. This one is going to be a little bit longer, as I'm not going to be trying to edit a lot out, so we're just going to be getting a lot of me just discussing a bunch of the players in the draft. So if you guys do end up enjoying this video and want more fantasy football content in the future, if you're trying to win your 2021 fantasy football league, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. So we are the number 5 overall pick in this draft. Now, personally, I actually like drafting at the end of drafts because I feel like I can get a nice 1-2 punch at the running back position there, but I still feel pretty confident drafting at the 5 spot or really anywhere inside of the draft. The first pick of the draft was Christian McCaffrey, followed by Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, and 9-inch Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb at that pick is a little early, but hey, it helped us out a ton. Here at number 4, or number 5, I should say, we could even go with Alvin Kamara or Saquon Barkley. It's really just a pick your own guy there. Personally, I like Saquon Barkley and Alvin Kamara pretty evenly, so this time we're going to go with Saquon Barkley because I feel like I've talked about Alvin Kamara a decent amount and haven't talked about Saquon Barkley as much. Now, again, I don't want to see too many comments about, oh, Nick, you fucking idiot, you should have drafted Alvin Kamara. I just said that they are both good. So Saquon Barkley obviously ended up getting hurt last season and did not produce in the first 2 games of the season. He got hurt early in that game up against Chicago week 2 and week 1 up against the Steel Curtain. He was getting locked down, but I do believe now with a better offense in New York for the Giants that Saquon Barkley should be able to flourish, and he has flourished in the past even with bad teams, so I'm genuinely not worried at all about Saquon Barkley. I think he's a very safe pick this season. I feel very comfortable with him going inside of the top 5 of 2021 fantasy football draft. So after I went with Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor came off the board, followed by Alvin Kamara, Cam Akers, Ezekiel Elliott, and Stephon Diggs. Interesting to see someone go with Stephon Diggs before Davante Adams. Now, would I disagree with this? No, because I actually think Stephon Diggs has a whole lot of upside and could easily be the wide receiver 1, because on a typical year that you don't see in back-to-back seasons, someone return to form and be the number 1 guy back-to-back, whether that's running back, quarterback, or wide receiver. Now, at tight end, it's a little bit easier with guys like Travis Kelce, who are just super dominant at their position to finish as the number 1 back-to-back years, but at running back and wide receiver, it is very unlikely, so it would make a lot of sense that Stephon Diggs could be that guy. After Diggs came Austin Eckler, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and DeAndre Hopkins. So maybe my philosophy from the past has been wrong. I personally believe that in a majority of drafts, you would see Travis Kelce go from around the 6 range where Henry is to the end of the first round with Gary with 2 R's, but instead he falls into the second round, but he was basically a first round pick because this guy just elected to choose Tyreek over him. Now, interesting here, we see a double wide receiver, or no, a double stack of the Kansas City Chiefs here at this pick, which is something I don't personally look to do in redraft leagues. In best ball, it's kind of smart because if you have a week where the Kansas City Chiefs pop off, it's great, but in best ball, I'm not necessarily looking to do that. Now, is it a bad strategy? No, but it's not something I'm necessarily looking to do. Davante Adams was wide receiver 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 off the board. That's insane. That's insane. The value that this guy got at Davante Adams is amazing. Justin Jefferson ahead of him and DeAndre Hopkins to me is a little bit ludicrous. Even Tyreek Hill. I would say Diggs is the only guy I'd be willing to take over Davante Adams. After that was George Kittle, me Timbers, and Antonio Gibson. So we are 1 pick away from our spot here. I'd be very happy if Mr. Ron Jones ended up falling to me. Now, again, he does not, obviously, because I started talking about him. But even with Aaron Rodgers potentially not being there, I think that Jones should still be good, but I also think Rodgers could still be there. So now we are back up on the board here. We already got 1 running back with Saquon Barkley here. Joe Mixon, Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins. I'd rather just wait until the next round with this batch of running backs and snag a guy that I think is going to see a lot of targets in 2021, and that is Mr. A.J. Brown of the Tennessee Titans. I think that A.J. Brown, given that they lost Corey Davis, given that they didn't put a lot of draft capital into the wide receiver position, tells me that A.J. Brown is going to be seeing a feast of targets in 2021. They also lost Jonnu Smith as well, and Anthony Firkser is going to have to step up, and I kind of like him as a late-round flyer at the tight end position, but I think that A.J. Brown, with the value in the second round here, is pretty solid. After I went with A.J. Brown, J.K. Dobbins came off the board, followed by Joe Mixon. Now, this is going to be typical in about all drafts. The early first 2 rounds of the draft are just going to be running backs getting hammered down your throat. You're going to be seeing running backs come off the board left and right. In the third round here is where we're going to start seeing the wide receiver and tight end brigade. Now, obviously, Kelsey and Kittle are already off the board. Darren Waller should go around this area as well. I'm surprised Kittle went that close to Travis Kelsey, because to me, I'm not too sure what to think about San Francisco. I think they're going to be good, but I do kind of worry about who the quarterback's going to end up being, if it's going to be Lance, if it's going to end up being Jimmy Garoppolo, and I don't think anyone really knows exactly what's that's going to look like in September. So Najee Harris going here at the 3 turn, followed by scary F1 Terry McLaurin. Najee Harris is a guy that people are telling me is going to end up going in the first round. Would that surprise me? No, they're talking about how, Najee Harris is going to be getting a lot of receptions. That's what came out yesterday. No shit. Obviously, he's going to be getting receptions. He did that in college. He should be able to do it at the NFL level. This is a very solid team here. McCaffrey, Swift, and Najee Harris. After Harris came Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf, and Patty Mahomes. I think that last team was looking to capitalize on the 3 stack there of the Chiefs, but they don't end up getting him. So at our pick here, while some may consider this a reach, I talked about him in yesterday's video. Running back Chris Carson of the Seattle Seahawks is the definition of consistency. Week in, week out, this dude is ultra consistent. He's going to get you over 1,000 rushing yards if he's able to stay healthy. He's done it in the past. He's been very consistent. The Seattle Seahawks offense likes to run the ball. Pete Carroll loves 2 things. It's to chew his bubblegum and to run the fucking rock down the opponent's throats, even if Russell Wilson is literally shredding the defense in half. If he is bending them over the table and fucking them without the use of lube, it does not matter. You want to know why? Because Pete Carroll just loves to run the ball. He just does. It's ingrained into his membrane. After I went with Chris Carson came Calvin Ridley, David Montgomery, Miles Sanders, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, Miles Sanders is a guy I also talked about in a video. Maybe it wasn't yesterday's video. It wasn't. It was like 2 days ago. I talked about how Miles Sanders is a guy that I'm not too sure about. I could see Miles Sanders being pretty decent, but I can also see the fact that they added a bunch of other running backs around Miles Sanders, and we are going to be seeing a running back by committee like you read about on the internet. It's going to be brutal there, so it could be one or the other. I think we're going to really have to wait till August to see preseason, to see what these coaches are saying before we make a true claim on Miles Sanders. David Montgomery, I like a decent amount. Obviously, with Tariq Cohen back, that does limit David Montgomery in the receiving game, but if I do believe that Justin Fields is real deal, if you believe Justin Fields is real deal, that they're going to be able to actually be good this season, then you should think David Montgomery would be pretty solid, as he was a top 5 running back down the stretch of last season. After Mr. Clyde Edwards-Helaire came Josh Jacobs, Josh Allen, Myles Gaskin, Allen Robinson, Kareem Hunt, Darren Waller, and Michael Thomas. Interesting to see that Waller went a full 2 rounds behind Kelsey and Kittle. Now, I'm not necessarily someone that loves to take tight ends early, but at that spot, I am very happy to do that. And this guy, Jerome Jackson, went ahead and fucked around and drafted Kyle Pitts in the top 4 rounds. Do not do that. Do not do that. We're going to talk about that in a second because we got my pick now after Mike Evans. It is our pick at the running back position. It's not looking the greatest here. I do like Mike Davis, but I'm not too sure I feel ultra confident drafting him at pick 44. So we're going to dip back into the wide receiver well. And in a lot of videos, I have been taking Robert Woods. So we're actually going to go with a different pick here. Now, some people might say, you fool, pick Robert Woods, but I want to talk about DJ Moore. Now, I think that DJ Moore has a lot of value going into the 2021 season. Now, I've said value like 50 times, so I will try to refrain from using that word because it's not necessarily the best word in this scenario, but I like his pick in the 4th round because I think Sam Darnold is better than Teddy Bridgewater, and I think DJ Moore kind of got not the greatest of recognition for last season, right? The guy had 1,000 193 receiving yards. He only had 4 touchdowns. I understand, that's not the greatest, but he still got a lot of receiving yards. I think this offense is going to look better with Sam Darnold under center, so I'm pretty confident in DJ Moore. Now, if you were to take Robert Woods ahead of him, go ahead. That's what I probably would have done, but I already took him in last video, and I don't want to necessarily keep talking about the same guys every single time. Another interesting pick there would have been Amari Cooper, who I like. I like CeeDee Lamb. I like Godwin, but I don't love Godwin. That'll probably be a video as well about how I don't necessarily love Godwin because Tom Brady really throws the ball to everyone, and down the stretch of the season, Antonio Brown was the best wide receiver on that team. Hockenson going at the 4-12. After that was Robert Woods, Mike Davis, and Lamar Jackson. So 3 quarterbacks going inside of the top 5 rounds. In every league, this is going to be different. In some leagues, Mahomes will be the first pick. In some leagues, Josh Allen might be the first pick, or maybe Lamar, or Russell Wilson. Whoever someone's favorite quarterback is may go in the first round. In other leagues, they go much later. So it really depends on who is in your league when trying to kind of figure out where the quarterbacks go. After that went Kenny Bones. So we're back on the board here. Kind of happy we waited on running back because I do like Chase Edmonds a decent amount. Now, I do think that it's worth it to draft a guy like James Conner later, potentially instead of drafting him, but it's really falling off after him. I think Edmonds could potentially be the workhorse there in Arizona. Will he be 100%? I don't think so, but I do think there's a chance that he is, and obviously by August, by early September, when you're drafting, we'll have a much better idea of this backfield than I have right now as I'm recording this on May 16th. You guys are watching this in the morning a couple hours from now. So again, we're going to go back and talk about Kyle Pitts because I don't understand why someone would draft him this early. I don't understand. Nick, he was drafted early on in the draft to the Falcons. This guy's basically Calvin fucking Johnson reincarnated as a tight end. I understand. I think Kyle Pitts is a freak athlete. I think he's really good. I wanted my Miami Dolphins to pick him, but at the end of the day, no rookie tight end has ever performed up to the hype that they are given. Now, there's also another narrative, this side narrative that says, Nick, no one has ever compared a tight end to Calvin Johnson. No one's ever said a tight end is basically a wide receiver. No one said this about a prospect, and that's true. Does that mean that I don't want you to draft Kyle Pitts in 2021? Obviously, I think you can draft him, but the 4th round is way too high. Too damn high, like that meme, to be drafting a tight end. In my opinion, that's a rookie. I just don't see it. Let me know down below if you guys would draft Kyle Pitts in the 4th round, because to me, that is a no-no. A no-no. In Dynasty, he's obviously worth a 1st round pick, but in a redraft league in the 4th round seems a little early to me. So after I went with Edmonds, Melvin Gordon came at the board, followed by Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen, Mark Andrews, Travis Etienne, James Robinson, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Lockett. Now we are into the 6th round of the draft. We're about 12 minutes into the video, so if you guys have ended up enjoying thus far, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. Now, interesting here, Etienne and James Robinson going back-to-back Michael Jordan 96-97. Obviously, Etienne goes in the 1st round with their 2nd pick of the 1st round, obviously drafting Trevor Lawrence first, and they already have James Robinson. Now, Etienne is practicing as a receiver, so maybe both of them are going to be valuable in fantasy, but I think Etienne will unanimously go a little bit higher than James Robinson. I think them going back-to-back is kind of crazy. After Lockett's Noah Fant, Dickey, Dak Prescott, Leonard Fournette, and Kyler Murray. Now, again, I'm a guy that waits on quarterback. If a guy like Dak or Kyler Murray fell to me in the 6th round, I'm not opposed to taking them, but when it's like Russ, Aaron Rodgers, Hurts, I like Herbert a lot, so maybe he'd be my 7th round pick, but not here inside of the 6th round. Looking at running backs with our team, we already have A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, Saquon Barkley, Chris Carson, and Chase Edmonds. So I think we can go ahead and wait longer on running backs. At this point, we are just taking straight up shots to the moon on some of these guys, so I'd rather hammer some wide receivers at this spot. So it is our pick. And I'll be honest with you guys, I think Higgins and Claypool are both going to be very good, but I think I like Sutton a decent amount more, but again, I don't love the quarterback situation there, and it's kind of fucking scaring me with Horsecock, Drew Lock under center. Now, again, maybe they trade for Aaron Rodgers, which is still possible, but I go with Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool, obviously, on the Steelers. It seems to me, and I've talked about this with people in the comments, that Juju seems like he's washed. Now, I don't think he's a bad NFL wide receiver, but he was like getting all this praise. The next Antonio Brown. All these headlines sucking Juju's penis. Metaphorically. on the internet. Now, do I think Juju's a bad player? No, but I don't think he lived up to those expectations, and I certainly would not want him over a guy like Chase Claypool or Deontay Johnson with our 68th overall pick. One pick off of being very nice at 69. So with Claypool, I do feel pretty confident in him. Him and Deontay Johnson are very close in my rankings. I think some people prefer Claypool. I kind of prefer Deontay Johnson, but I think Claypool is much safer because we know he's going to be able to catch the ball, whereas Deontay Johnson, that guy has butterfingers. After I went with Mr. Chase Claypool, Raheem Mostert came off the board, followed by Odell, Brandon Ayuk, Jalen Hurts, Javonte Williams, Ronald Jones. Now, I am not a fan at all of Odell Beckham Jr. I think that the guy is cool and all. He seems like a fun guy. But, like, as a receiver in the NFL on a team that likes to run the fucking rock like the Browns do, they want to jam the ball down your throat, the Pete Carroll philosophy of Kevin Stefanski. I don't want anything to do with Odell, but I like that pick. He made up for it with Baby Chark, Baby Chark, who has a lot of upside in this Jacksonville Jaguars offense, potentially with Trevor Lawrence, obviously, under center. So, we are about to be back up on the board. Herbert went, which kind of pissed me off, because that would have been my pick here at tight end. I like a decent amount of these guys. Someone brought up Tyler Higbee, and he's a guy I wasn't really talking about, but after reading a comment on yesterday's video, I don't remember exactly who left the comment, so I apologize for not remembering. We talked about it in the comment section. Higbee has a lot of upside this year. In 2019, had an explosive deep down the stretch season. 2020 just blew a load right in your fucking face. And was terrible, but maybe there's in for a bounce back with Matty Snapback at running back. Don't really love any of these picks, so we're going to go ahead and go wide receiver again and attack it here with Courtland Sutton. I like Higgins as well. I think we are going to see Chase, Higgins, and Tyler Boyd all be fantasy relevant, but I do worry about the offensive line, so to hope that Joe Burrow stays healthy. Courtland Sutton in 2019 was absolutely skull-fucking defenses. He obviously gets hurt in 2020. I believe it was week 1. Sucks, obviously, because he had so much promise. And then Drew Lock starts falling apart now. I think Drew Lock could honestly be the starter because what Bridgewater brings to the table is safety. He's like a condom. He's not, you're not having the most fun because the condom's there, but you're also not going to end up with a kid, hopefully, or STDs. Like Bridgewater, you're not going to end up. He's not going to throw you 4 touchdowns, but he's not going to fuck the game up for you. That's a pretty solid analogy there. But yeah, that's just how I feel about it. I don't feel super confident in Bridgewater. I'd rather raw dog it if I'm the Denver Broncos. Go with no rubber. Go with horsecock Drew Lock. Now again, they could trade for Rodgers, but another story that's coming out now is that Deshaun Watson. Now again, I don't know if this could be true at all, but I've read it from a couple of sources. One of them being NFL rumors who, oh, Nick, that's NFL rumor. Dude, they're so accurate. Dude, like as if it's only guys watching this, dudes and dudettes, okay? Maybe Deshaun Watson, there's talks about how this is all going to be done. This is all going to be gone. Now, again, I don't know if he did it or not. I hope he didn't do it. But if he did do it, he's obviously a huge asshole. Obviously, I'm not in favor of what he did. That was terrible. But maybe all this goes away and he gets traded to the Eagles. Wow. If that was to happen, that'd be fucking crazy. Jalen Hurts, multiple firsts would be involved in this pick. I'd be very interested to see that happening. I don't know if it's going to happen. I just figured it would be a talking point in this video. After I went with Courtland Sutton, Russell Wilson came off the board, followed by Michael Carter. Way too early for him. Titty Boy T. Higgins, Aaron Rodgers, Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel, Damian Harris, A.J. Dillon, Jermar Chase, Los Angeles defense, James Conner, Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Now, I like Michael Carter because he could be the running back 1 in New York for the Jets. He showed a lot of talent at UNC, was never the workhorse back, though, because Javonte Williams, who went a little bit earlier, was also at UNC. They were kind of doing a running back by committee type deal there. They both are very talented running backs. So he has a lot of promise, but he was also not a first or second round pick. He's on the Jets. So I don't know why people are picking him in the 7th round. Maybe he ends up getting picked that high later, but I don't know. I don't feel ultra confident in that. Looking at running backs again, it's just like a wasteland out here. Round 8, is it too early to select my boy Gus Bus? I don't know. I like Sermon, but I don't think he's going to go here. So we're going to go ahead and go quarterback or tight end here. Brady, Stafford, tight end. Yeah, we're on quarterback. I like Brady, but I'm going to go with Stafford ahead of him. I think Stafford's going to tear it up in LA. I've talked about this so many times in my videos that I love Matthew Stafford in LA. I think the Rams could win the fucking Super Bowl. Am I saying that's 100% going to happen? No, but with a strong defense, with Matthew Stafford under center, I mean, they were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago with Jared Goff, so it is entirely possible. I like Matthew Stafford a lot. This offense has loaded weapons. Robert Woods. They have Robert Woods, they have Cooper Kupp, they have Cam Akers, they have behind Cam Akers, they have Darrell Henderson, who's pretty solid. Their tight end is pretty solid in Mr. Higbee, so they have a pretty solid offense over there in LA. Tutu Atwell, Deshaun Jackson, a bunch of other weapons as well. I think this Rams team is going to be good, and I think Stafford's going to be slinging it. Some people don't like to draft non-mobile quarterbacks because of the Konami quarterback code, that fucking bullshit that people talk about. Obviously, quarterbacks who run have an advantage, but Stafford's been a top 10 quarterback multiple times in Detroit, and now he's in LA with a good coach, good weapon, something he never had in Detroit besides, obviously, Megatron, Calvin Johnson. So we are back up in the board in a couple of picks. After we took Stafford, Gus Bus Edwards came out the board, followed by Mike Licky, Amagasiki, Juju Smith-Schuster, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Robert Tonyan, Zach Moss, Latavius Murray. So we're going to take the shot here on the running back that I want, Trey Sermon, running back of the San Francisco 49ers. I understand some people don't like taking a shot on a guy that's in a backfield that I dubbed the San Francisco 49ers use a running back by orgy. Some teams use running back by committee. That's like a 2-3 running back backfield. No, the 49ers, they use everyone. They'll put the cheerleader fucking in the game. They'll put the water boy in the game. They'll let the coach run the ball. They give it to the fullback. They give it to everyone. Like, if you go to a game, I'm sure you could convince Kyle Shanahan to give you a touch at the running back position because they use a running back by orgy. They give it to like 6 different fucking players during the game. Brandon Ayuk will run the ball. All types of shit. Now with Trey Lance, like, Trey Lance might play running back. That's what I'm saying. It's very confusing, but it's worth a shot, in my opinion, because Trey Sermon showed a decent amount of skill at The Ohio State University. Enough for them to have drafted him. Not super high in the draft, obviously, but he wasn't like a 7th-round pick, so I think he's worth a shot. I think a lot of these Niners running backs are going to be worth a shot this year on a lot of upside. So after we went ahead and drafted Mr. Trey Sermon, I'm going to go ahead and bring myself to the top here because it'll be easier for you guys to see the rest of the board. After we went ahead and drafted Trey Sermon, came Justin Tucker, the fucker, Jerry Jeudy, Joe Burrow, Deebo Samuel, and Tony Pollard. Now, my friend Nick Ercolano, you guys probably watch him on YouTube. Nick, let me see. I'm going to pull up his tweet real quick about Joe Burrow. I'm not going to put it on the screen because, you know, editing is hard. But this is some Joe Burrow stats for your head top that he tweeted out at Nick Ercolano on Twitter if you want to follow him. He's a very nice guy. Very nice. Joe Burrow in 2020, per game versus the Browns, 3 passing touchdowns, 361 passing yards, half a rushing touchdown, 26.5 rushing yards. Other 8 games, 0.9 passing touchdowns per game, 0.5 interceptions per game, 246 passing yards per game, 0.25 rushing touchdowns per game, and 11 rushing yards. Now, am I saying that Joe Burrow is going to be absolute dick cheese in 2021? No, but what I'm saying is that that's crazy. That's crazy that the stats are like that, but just some interesting tidbit of information. I think Burrow will be good in 2021. I just thought I would bring it up as an interesting bit of the video. We're talking about some stats here. After Tony Pollard came out the board, came the Baltimore defense, Naheem Hines, Logan Thomas, Harrison Bucker, the fucker, Michael Pittman, Tampa Bay Tom Brady, and my old bitch lame, but my young ho coup. If you guys have made it this far into the video, write down below. Let's see. What's something around me that you can write down? Write down below Dunkaroo, because I have the Dunkaroo cereal sitting next to me. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. Young Hoku, Ryan Tannehill, Will Fuller. That would have been my pick. I love Will Fuller. We don't have a tight end yet. And at this point in the draft, we are in the 10th round. I'm drafting my guy, Irv Smith. Now, you might want to go with the stack of Stafford and Higbee, but I love me some Irv Smith in 2021 with the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, we have not seen the full unleashment of Irv Smith. We have not seen this guy go fucking crazy in a game because Mason Rudolph, that's the guy who got bashed in the head, bang, bonk, by Myles Garrett. That's the quarterback of the Steelers. I'm talking about Mason Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. No, Kyle Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. Tight end of the Vikings went on a plane to New York. Now he's the Giants tight end 1 or 2. As well, shout out to fucking Kelvin Benjamin, who is now the tight end as well of the Giants. But Irv Smith, when Kyle Rudolph wasn't playing, Irv Smith was playing very well. So I think that Irv Smith is actually a very sneaky tight end in the 10th round. He's a guy I'm going to be targeting heavily, even if I don't love Kirk Cousins, but I think Kirk Cousins gets a little too much hate, and he does not like that. So through the draft so far, we got Matty Snapback, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, double initial names, A.J. and DJ, wiki, Saquon Barkley, Chris Carson, Irv Smith, Chase Edmonds, Chase Claypool, why did I forget what the fuck Sutton's first name is? Cortland Sutton, Trey Sermon. I apologize. We got a lot of C's here. CCC. But I think Edmonds wouldn't be my flex. I think I'd probably throw Claypool in there, but obviously this is just talking nonsense for no reason. So we got our tight end. We got our quarterback. I don't necessarily think you have to draft 2 quarterbacks or 2 tight ends. Now, if you're in a league where everyone's drafting 2 quarterbacks, then you almost have to draft one so that you're not caught lacking trying to play fucking Tua or something as your quarterback. Now, I like Tua in real life as my quarterback of my Dolphins, but I don't love him for fantasy. So that's kind of what I'm talking about here. A lot of people are leaving the draft. Obviously, we are drafting with real people, but I still think this gives a better idea right now than drafting against the computer. But as we get later into the offseason, I draft much more against the computer because it's much faster, and I feel like I'm not necessarily speeding fucking zoom through the video like I am now. So we are in the 11th round. We have a couple of picks left. We got 10 guys on our team so far. Going to build up that bench and then draft our kicker and defense. Maybe draft a backup tight end, but probably not. So, got a decent amount of wide receivers. Now, again, a quick tip for the boys and gals watching. You want more running backs than receivers on your team because it's very easy on the waiver wire, even in a 12-team league, to find a receiver that is going to be getting you like 8 points, 9 points, 10 points off the waiver wire, but it's like impossible to do that for running backs, so it's good to try to build up a bunch of guys that have upside later in the draft. Darrell Henderson would be my pick here. Now, I don't think he's very useful unless Akers gets hurt, but you know, we've seen him be pretty solid in the NFL. 624 rushing yards last season, 1 receiving touchdown. Pretty solid player. Again, doesn't have much value if Akers is healthy, but if Akers was to get hurt, knock on wood, we don't root for injuries. I'm taking Darrell Henderson here. He is probably my second favorite handcuff besides Gus Bus Edwards. After I went with Irv Smith came Jarvis Landry, Devin Singletary, Hunter Henry, San Francisco 49ers, Greg the Leg Zerline, Matty Ice Baby, dun 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 dun. Tampa Bay defense, Tyler Higbee, Darrell Henderson to us, and then Tyler, yeah, Boyd off the board there. After me, I like Boyd. I think maybe Boyd might not be the odd man out because he's the slot guy in Cincinnati. After Boyd came Cooks. You could see it at the bottom right. Cooks, Marvin Jones, and Michael Gallup. After Jones and Gallup came Willie Lutz, Hollywood Brown, Alexander Madison, J.D. McKissick, Kirk Cousins. You like that, and Baker Mayfield. So a lot of people are going to be drafting backup quarterbacks in this league, which would, in a real league for me, make me want to draft a backup quarterback. Now, maybe not yet, because I'm still pretty confident that Wentz is just a nice dart throw at the quarterback position. Watson, if he ends up actually playing, will not go this far down. I like Tua, not to be my starter, but as quarterback 2, that's all right. I like Darnold the same way. I think Jameis, I think could literally be a top 5 quarterback. But we're going to wait on him. There's no way he goes relatively soon. So we're going to go ahead and dump back into the running back or wide receiver well with this next pick. I like Wilson, but we already have Sermon. I talked about James White in yesterday's video. I think James White got fucked over. Obviously, last season, he dealt with a lot of adversity. His family members got into a car accident. His father passed away. Very sad. Very, very sad. James White dealt with that. Didn't have the greatest season. I think it might be comeback season for James White, who in the past was a very solid running back in fantasy due to his receiving upside. Had so many receptions last year, top 10 receptions at the running back position, top 10 in targets, just didn't really put it all together. But I think in 2021, it's entirely possible that he does. And with a late round shot in the 12th round, I think it is certainly worth it for a guy with enough upside in James White. After we went ahead and selected Mr. James White, came the Indianapolis Colts defense, my boy Jason Sanders, New Orleans Saints, Jonnu Smith, Danny Dimes, Rodrigo Blankenship. Why does Rodrigo go so low down? Like, that seems weird. Same with Sanders. I'd take him over Zerline easily, and Rodrigo I'd take over Zerline. Kind of weird. A little bit weird. So we do have our last pick of our bench. So we are going to go quarterback here. I want Jameis on the squad. I think Jameis, I like Fitzpatrick as well. But Fitzpatrick notoriously bad when looked at as the starter. And then when he's like the comeback kid, you know, not the starter, like Tua gets benched, they bring Fitzpatrick in, it's an auto win. Except for against the Broncos. Pain as a Dolphins fan. But we're going with famous Jameis. Eat a fucking W. Jameis threw a dime in that game up against the Bucs. In the playoffs, Jameis should be the starter. Jameis eats W's. He steals crabs. And he fucking wins you fantasy championships. All hail Jameis fucking Winston. I love Jameis. The Saints offense is going to be running. And not running the ball. I mean running up the score on teams. I love Jameis. I'm very confident in Jameis. I understand some people don't like Jameis because he's going to throw like 50 picks, shit like that. I ain't too worried, especially in fantasy, about interceptions. As long as he gets the yards and the touchdowns. If he just throws 4 picks, doesn't do anything else, then I'm going to be pretty sad. So we are back up on the board relatively soon, and we need to get a defense and a kicker. Now, the schedule is actually out, so we can actually figure out who's playing week 1 and stuff, which I have not actually looked up yet. If I'm being completely honest with you, I have not done that research. I will do it soon, and I will make a video on who to pick, but what you try to do is look up the NFL schedule week 1, either on your phone or on your computer, and then you figure out, you know what, who has an easy matchup week 1? Who is a team that I think is going to feast week 1? The offense sucks ass. The defense is pretty solid. That's what I'm looking for in my matchups. Week 1, there are probably some good games. Dallas, Tampa Bay, Jacksonville, Houston. You could probably start both defenses. That's how bad the game will be. Jacksonville, Houston, those are teams I could like. They don't even have good defenses. It's just a good matchup. LAC, Washington, that's a game that I would not be looking at all for any of the defenses. Seattle, Indy, same thing there. New York versus Carolina. I think the Panthers are going to skull fuck the Jets, so I would be interested in the Panthers with the... What's that called? A revenge game from Mono Man Sam. Minnesota, Cincinnati, I don't really like that game. Arizona, Tennessee, don't really like any of that game. San Francisco, Detroit, San Francisco is going to fuck them. Pittsburgh, Buffalo, don't love that. Philly, Atlanta, don't love either defense there. Cleveland, KC, don't love that. Green Bay, New Orleans, don't love that. Denver, Giants, I think that one will be a low-scoring game. You could probably go with either of those defenses. Miami, New England. I think New England will win, but I think it'll be low scoring, either defenses in that one. Chicago, LA, don't love that one. And Baltimore, Las Vegas, I don't love that one either. So there are a couple of defenses that you can pick from this list that I just said to you. So we're going to go with the Panthers probably. If they're available, I don't know why anyone would have picked them because they're going up against the Jets, and I just have a feeling they're going to be... Did someone actually take them? Are you fucking kidding me? Carolina. No one picked them. Okay. I'm going to go with Carolina up against the Jumbo Jets. Now, week 2, what you do is you throw them out the window, and then you pick up a new defense that has a pretty solid matchup the second week. And I make videos every single week about this, so you don't even have to really think about it. Just every week, I'm talking about the defenses. So now we are back on the board here, and we got to go with a kicker. And for kickers, I will make a kicker ranking video. To me, the kickers are more important than most people talk about it, to be honest with you, because the kicker can score like 10 points and win your week. They could fuck you over and score like 3 points and lose you the week. So they're pretty important, but that doesn't mean that I'd really draft them anything higher than like one of the last picks. Maybe you want to reach on them in the 13th round, but I don't really see a reason to reach on him. Hayden Hurst. Love that guy, but no more in fantasy with Pitts there. Don't be doing that. Did he? Okay, no. I thought the guy that drafted Pitts fucking handcuffed him. That would have been hilarious. So we're going with a kicker here. I like Badgley because I think the team's going to be good, but Badgley wasn't that great last year. I like Bass. Bass is really good. He was a rookie last year, I believe. Very, very good in his rookie campaign for the Bills. The Bills are going to be a good team. I like Bass a lot. Prater, very good kicker. Now in Arizona, no longer on Detroit. That's a pretty interesting pick as well, considering Zane Gonzalez completely fucked the Cardinals a bunch of times last year. I know Cardinals fans hate Zane Gonzalez. All my homies hate Zane Gonzalez. So after we make this pick, we're just going to recap some of the draft, talk about some of the picks that I didn't really like, some of the picks that I liked, and then we're going to head out of here. So looking at the board, some picks that I don't like. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know why you're drafting both Bills running backs. I don't think any of those guys are going to be very good. Corey Davis on the Jets, I think, is a nice dart throw. Don't love it, but I think that's a decent dart throw. I like Kirk really late, to be honest with you. I think that he's the guy, same with Matt Ryan, that a lot of people are disrespecting. Tannehill also goes very late. A lot of people disrespecting Tannehill. David Johnson, that is a no reason to be drafting him. Mark Ingram, or Philip Lindsay, they're all on the same team. That's going to be a three-headed backfield of fucking death. A pick that I do like, I like DJ Chark. I like Devontae Smith. I like the shot on Jalen Waddle. I like Jamar Chase. All those guys in the 8-9 round range at the wide receiver position, I like a decent amount. So, thank you guys all so much for watching. To recap, our team is Matthew Stafford, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore. We got Saquon Barkley, Chris Carson. Here, wait. It might be easier to pull up this way. Matthew Stafford, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, Saquon Barkley, Chris Carson, Irv Smith, Chase Edmonds, Chase Claypool, Cortland Sutton, Trey Sermon, Darrell Henderson, James White, and famous Jameis Ida W. Winston. So thank you guys all so much for watching. If you did end up enjoying this video at any point, you ended up having a great time, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. I love each and every single one of you guys. Make sure to have a great rest of your guys' day. As always, goodbye!